We're equally focused on delivering what gamers want most, without imposing restrictions or devaluing their PS4 purchases. PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 gamers. When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. And it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours. As well as the ability to fully immerse themselves in the incredible PS4 games with online multiplayer.
What's up, guys? Fico here, and welcome once again to Fico's Gaming Mind on E3. Had a couple of conferences already discussed and now we're here to talk about Sony. Talking about the big power hitter of E3. These guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. I honestly was genuinely impressed with how they just showed up, and we're here to show you guys what you want, and over the course of the next bit of time that I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to show you guys exactly what they showed. They started talking a little bit about PlayStation 3, and then ultimately what they hadn't done, the one thing that they hadn't done yet has to be to reveal the actual PlayStation 4. That comes a little later, but they decided to talk a little bit about PlayStation 3 first. So what is it that they did to get everybody believing that 81% of IGN readers believe that they won E3? So what is it that they did? So let's get started, but they'll start by giving us like a quick intro about The Last of Us. And that game, as of right now, me doing this, is actually already been released. It's getting a ton of acclamation, and it's a game that is definitely coming into my collection. I am definitely getting The Last of Us because, I've kind of sort of neglected Naughty Dog's games in the past. I have played their earlier franchises. I have not played the Uncharted series. As embarrassing as that comes out sounding from my mouth when I say it, it really does seem. I have the Uncharted games like right here with me. I just have not played them. My backlog is literally just humongous, and it is a shame, but I am not passing up on The Last of Us. This definitely looks like a game. I was anticipating The Last of Us since the first time I heard about it, so definitely not passing up on that. They talked a little bit about other franchises like Puppeteer, which is a platformer that kind of has a similar art style to Little Big Planet by Media Molecule, but they This is I saw a 2 minute trailer a while ago just to get a little bit refreshed upon what Puppeteer was, and it is supposed to be a pretty hardcore platformer game in which you play this dude called Kuduro, and with Kuduro you could switch heads and it change into different abilities, and you have these mystic pair of scissors in which you can apparently climb in different areas. Puppeteer definitely does look like a game I might actually get because it looks really nice. I mean, I've always liked the games that have this definitive art style, and this does have a sort of like a hardcore-ish platform feel to it. I'm glad that people are embracing the hardcore platformish approach that they did with Ubisoft did with Rayman, and they're excited about Rayman Legends, so clearly there are going to be others that are going to want to give us a little bit more of a hardcore platform. So, and then came Rain, a game that was done by Japan Studio, and it is a beautiful, beautiful game. It's supposed, I didn't know what it was about when I was seeing it, and it looked as though it was about spirits and ghosts and an outworldy other world, but it turns out it is an invisible boy who can only be seen if rain falls on top of him. And as it turns out, there is a girl also that nobody can see as well except if rain falls. Now, clearly, what I think about this, I think of games like Ico or the Shadow of the Colossus games, and the Last Guardian that went on missing again. But that's okay, because I doubt that a lot of people care too much about the Last Guardian when they saw these games, and I'm almost guaranteed they definitely didn't care after everything else that happened. An extended trailer for Beyond Two Souls. I remember last year I was very, very excited about Quantic Dream's next game, in which Ellen Page not only does the acting, the motion capture, the voice acting, they use her likeness as well. It seems that not only does Jodie Holmes, Ellen Page's character, have this weird side to her, like her invisible friend Aiden, or whatever it is by the name of Aiden. Aiden didn't even come up. It seems as though Jodie was recruited to be a police officer of some kind, and she definitely was trained to be this super soldier, and it turns out that they go to show her throughout it, there's not a lot of supernatural stuff of it, and it seems as though now Quantic Dream is taking like his approach, this open world approach, and apparently now she is just it's more like a cover based mechanics as well. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that's what the game is about, but knowing Quantic Dream, they definitely have the deliverance of games such as Heavy Rain definitely put my mind at ease. I cannot wait for this game to come out. I mean, between The Last of Us and with their incredible motion capturing, I mean, usually using Ashley Johnson to do the little girl, and her voice and her motion capturing was used in this. I almost can't imagine truly cinematic games not doing Quantic Dream's approach, and that's a really great idea, seriously. Another great game that they talked about was Batman Arkham Origins, which they showed another trailer. They revealed that it was going to be released in October as well. Very, very excited about that game. I cannot wait to see that game. I heard that it wasn't being done by the same team. I could be wrong, but even though it still looks like a really good game, it's an interesting concept of how Black Mask is hiring the underbelly, the Rogues Gallery, to just try to kill this guy, and Deathstroke is in it, and I'm just flabbergasted because I'm just like, now they're bringing in outside of the Batman universe. I mean, I don't know the entire Batman universe. I do not know if Deathstroke clashes too much with Batman, but the fact that he is here and the fact that he's gonna be so put through the test, I cannot wait for this game to come out later on. They talked about Polyphony came out, and guess what? It's another Gran Turismo game, and I secretly said, you know what? I'm sure if people 7 years from now they still cared about Gran Turismo, I think they will definitely get Gran Turismo for whatever console they're gonna get it. They kind of threw it in along with the PlayStation 3 games that they were promoting, so I'm thinking that this is going to be a PlayStation 3 game. But considering Polyphony's constant redirecting and delaying, and they want to get everything right because it's got to be just perfect, I would not be surprised if Polyphony just said, stop, let's start over and let's just do this for the PlayStation 4. But for now, it's there. It exists in your collective consciousness. It's somewhere in there. You get to like it if you want or not, if you care or not. Again, this goes back once again. I repeat for the 4th time, I don't care much about this, and especially not about Gran Turismo. It's more of a racing simulator. If I want to play racing games, I want them to be fun, and pretending to drive these cars in these realistic situations where you're expected to be a long time just expects a lot out of you. It's got to be for the hardcore enthusiasts. I mean, I'm a person who played flight simulator games when I was younger, and I get more out of that than I do from a car. Seriously, I honestly really don't care. And of course, they talked about GTA 5, which is one of the biggest, most anticipated releases coming up soon. They promoted on how PlayStation 3 was going to do a bundle in which that they were going to be offering GTA 5 bundled in with a PlayStation 3 apparently, and then also an exclusive like headset exclusive bundle as well, which is pretty neat. If I'm gonna get that game, it's probably gonna be for PC. But if not, then, you know, for Sony fans, there you go. You can get a sweet headset. I don't know whether or not who did the headset. I kind of caught small details. The reason I was seeing this PlayStation 4 conference in my current situation where I was watching it, there's poor audio, so I made a miss details. But after that came the moment everybody was waiting for. Everybody was kind of looking forward. It's like, what does the PlayStation 4 look like? What is it? Show it to us. And boom, there it goes. The PlayStation 4 released, and as it looks, the thing I kind of sort of thought about was a Blade server. Sort of kind of this little slanted, cubed into like 4 pieces. It's very it looked small, and as it turns out, there were these graphic presentations upon how they compared the last couple of generations of consoles. The PlayStation 4 is much smaller than the PlayStation 3. I mean, they compressed that thing down. It looks almost as big as a compact PlayStation 2. I mean, seriously, it's a small one. It's kind of got this like little slanted view. It's like and it's kind of, I always kept saying it was very Art Deco-y. So, you know, when they showed it, I was blown away on how small this console is. I mean, considering that the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 have similar architecture and similar hardware specs, you gotta admit, you know, like compressing the console size down to a smaller size, it definitely makes up for, you know, kind of like, wow, this is a pretty neat design. So I dug the design. Nothing that's going to blow everybody else's over, because the last couple of PlayStations have been sort of like, oh, it's the PlayStation 2. It's kind of square. It's got these little edges Okay, then the PlayStation 3, oh, it's got this, it's a big black console and it's glossy. And oh, but wait a minute, we'll make it slimmer and it's still got the same shape and it's not glossy anymore. Oh, okay, we'll make it black again and then we'll just curve it up a little and make it smaller. Not that overly impressive, but the fact that they were able to compress all that into a smaller console definitely impressed me. So kudos for Sony, because if you're not going to make your console backwards compatible, at least you saved me from having yet another big console laying in my floor or laying in wherever it's going to be at. So, as soon as that, they came out and Sony Pictures started talking. And this is where I think lost me, because this goes back to the very last one where I was talking about how things that had nothing to do with gaming were talking. Because they were talking about how Video Unlimited, about Netflix, about Redbox, but at this point I was just going blah 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 blah, like whatever, I don't care, just move on. But I kind of find it, at the time I was thinking, before like the latest announcements that happened with Xbox One, it was like, I was thinking, it was like, nobody wants to hear someone talk about stuff that has nothing to do with games. And I even noted, good thing this is about games or I wouldn't be complaining. And it was kind of hypocritical of Sony to come out and talk about, oh, we're all about the gamers. And when that came out, all of a sudden the crowd's tone suddenly shifted to silence. All of a sudden it was like, oh no, please God, Sony, no, not you too, please God, don't turn this into a media device as well, which, yeah, apparently it is anyway, in spite of what you all think. This plays games, that's the main thing this was for, but you're kidding yourself, so you think this isn't a media box, because yes, you have stuff like Video Unlimited and Music Unlimited and the stuff that you download like Netflix and Hulu Plus, you have all that. This is a media device as well, as much as you don't want to admit it. But, they have to talk about them. They have to get people who are excited about those things, because according to people, the PlayStation 3 was the device that most people use to use Netflix. I would contend it's the Roku, but you know what? Whatever. Everyone floats their boat. They said it's a PlayStation 3, so they have to say, you know what? For those of you who enjoyed watching Netflix on the PlayStation 3, you can enjoy Netflix on the PlayStation 4. So, they have to say it. They have to say it. They can't leave it in the air. It's going to be a question that those people that are into these type of things are going to ask. And then came Shu Yoshida, the big guy himself, the man behind Sony. And somewhere Greg Miller from IGN just blew his load when he saw him, and it was like, the man has a serious hard-on for Sony. I mean, this is the size of his wood. When he talks about Sony, you could tell he's a Sony fanboy. I mean, he'll say up and down, left and right. No. His tone shifts. But, after this, let me tell you, this conference, it blew everybody's mind away, as he came out to talk about games that were coming out for the PlayStation 4. And the first one he talks about is from the Santa Monica Studios and Ready at Dawn. And it's a game called The Order. It's a new IP. It's exclusive. It looks like sort of like this old Victorian era steampunkish place and time in this dystopian future. And I couldn't help but feel it's like, wow, this is actually really nice. It's pretty cool. But they were only showing a trailer, so I didn't get that. There's not much of it in there, but it definitely does leave a lot to be desired. But at the same time, I got people excited about it. Then they talked about Killzone Shadowfall, which I think they talked a lot more of it in the previous event. They showed a lot more of it in the previous event. But here they showed like a more extensive trailer. It looks great. You could summon shields apparently now, and those shields you can just like jog from the side or shoot through them or not. It's not too clear. They didn't talk about it, but hey, it's another franchise. I've actually spoken with people that are huge Killzone fans, and they're excited about this. They love the Killzone franchise. They love how the games look, and they cannot wait until this game comes out. And, well, not a Killzone fan, but, you know, they just released a Killzone collection, so maybe one day I'll get it. I'll give my impressions, and I'll see if I'll get Shadowland. You know, I might not get it on day one when it comes out, but you know, I'll get it eventually. If it turns out that this game is really good, I'll give it a chance. But so far, Killzone hasn't really done anything. Apart from the way it looks, really hasn't done anything that is gonna go, oh, well, I definitely got to get that game. But this is a new Killzone, so feel free to you know, share your opinions and thoughts. Just let me know what if you guys hear anything cool about Killzone, because you know what, I'm not getting this game yet, but it is going to be obviously an exclusive for the PlayStation 4, so not that I can avoid it once I get it. So then to start talking about Drive Club next. They don't, not really that, like I said before, I didn't care much about Drive Club. This Drive Club, it's sort of making it sound like it's Forza and Fight Club, I think, are going to be, the Drive Club is going to be like this thing that's going to be just like, not like the competitors. I might have heard this right or wrong, but for those who have PlayStation Plus accounts, you would actually get Drive Club, access to Drive Club for free. I'm just kind of skipping over a little bit, but yes, I will mention that right now when they talk a little bit more extensively about PlayStation Plus, the improvements. But PlayStation Plus, for those of you who haven't, actually get access to Drive Club like right away. There you go. Like even before the PlayStation 4 comes out, you have a free game for PlayStation 4, and that just surprised me again. I mean, because Sony ain't really known much about giving stuff away like that. I mean, PlayStation Plus has been sort of all about that, but you know, I mean, seriously, I mean, Drive Club's a brand new driving game, and it's free right off the bat once it gets out. Now, details on that will probably come a little later, but as it goes along, there are more trailers that are being shown. Ton of gameplay trailers. This was the longest conference, so this will most likely be the longest video, but bear with me because it's fair to mention these. Now, I'm just skipping through these a little bit fast because they've talked about these, but except this one, Infamous Second Son, which is seems to be a different setting, but kind of similar to Infamous. I don't know if Cole McGrath is involved in this at all. It looks like it's a completely different story, but Infamous is it's just kind of showing, like, it's got great character models, and it's showing a trailer of the main character, which apparently you possess powers that are very similar to Cole's, and it seems more hell-bent on fire rather than electricity, which I find that to be very, very cool. They show another trailer of Knack, which is I think the first game that they showed off on overall as the exclusive new IP. They showed it off at the Sony event when they first announced the PlayStation 4 event a few months ago, and Knack still looks pretty impressive. It looks like a really interesting platform 3D game that you know, I mean, they're trying, I think, to grasp a little bit about that Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank magic that they've had in the past. Now they're doing it with something called this Knack game, and Knack is probably going to be one of the launch titles unless they want to refine it. But there you go. They showed something called the Dark Sorcerer. And this was Quantic Dream again, and I don't know what this trailer was because it seemed to have been a spoof. Now, whether this is supposed to be Quantic Dream's new engine demonstration, I could definitely understand if that's the case, or maybe this is a brand new game they are working on. But the odds are I think this is more of like a demo presentation. I'm sorry I don't have what it is here. I never actually searched on this, but it was pretty funny how they just sort of just like spoof this whole thing. Is like this one big movie. Project Dream likes to work to get us to feel like what they're doing is like a movie instead of a game. David Cage is got a movie mentality, and he definitely knows how to direct. He directs people but he knows how to make realistic games you feel. And well, whether this is a game or whether this is a new engine demonstration, if it's a new engine demonstration, I cannot wait until they reveal the next game they're working on. But they're probably going to be busy with Beyond Two Souls, so we'll just have to wait and see. So then they started talking about indies. They started showing stuff from indie developers. They re-showed The Witness. They really didn't show much of it compared to the previous event. They also mentioned Transistor, which is Supergiant's next game. They're the guys that did Bastion, and they came up with this really nice trailer, and they announced that this game was going to be out on 2014. And Transistor is one of those games where I'm definitely going to get. I hope that it's longer than Bastion, but this game, if it's just the same length, I'm not gonna mind, because I've played through Bastion multiple times and I love Bastion. And considering that Transistor definitely looks like a very interesting game indeed. It's got like a lot of the elements that return back. It's like it's like a really great art style. It's got like this really neat gameplay, and of course the music. You can't forget about the music. Gotta love the music. So slated for 2014. They started talking about how self-publishing is now available for indies, that they could self-publish these games now for PlayStation 4 now. I don't know how this works in specific, but they're showing that they are supporting all of the indie devs. Like, for example, the people that did Don't Starve, Mercenary Kings, Octodad, Secret Ponchos, a new Oddworld remake. They're remaking Outworld, and it looks really awesome. They're basically supporting all of these indie developers, and I think that is something very, very important, because like many have said before, they kind of sort of addressed this sort of thing before when they redesigned the PlayStation's architecture to an architecture that developers can work with, indie developers can work with, making them less restrictive to get games they want on Sony's PlayStation Store, and working with them, which Sony was adamant to do, and now they're not doing it. They definitely want them to be on their side. And when they were showing these games, it was like little itty bitty games like these. It was like, you gotta get people excited, because it's like, oh my god, I have a game. What if I want to self-publish it? There you go. I wish I had more details, but the fact that the knowledge about this, it really does make me happy. Sony is like changing the tide, actually taking time to care about their developers, the developers that want to do these, these games. Only time will tell, but so far it's looking very exciting, very nice. They re-talk about Diablo 3, about how it's, still coming out on consoles as well, and there are add-ins from like exclusive items. Apparently, I don't know if they said that the Diablo 3 was going to be like a PlayStation 4 game as well. I'm thinking that it is, but apparently that you can get certain in-game items that are tied in with Sony franchises. And so, it's got to be pretty nice. So, and then yeah, this thing is still going. It's still going. I mean, this is a long conference, but I think at this point, what happens next, I think, blew my mind. It blew Anne's mind because we were watching this conference together. I think my brain literally exploded, and all I could say was WTF or F you. I was like, F you, F you, F you, oh F you, oh F you, and this is why Square Enix comes out and they bring the lead from Kingdom Hearts and the lead from Final Fantasy versus 13. Wow, I completely forgot his name, but I know who he is. He's the guy that does the character designs for the majority of the more recent Final Fantasy games, and he comes out and he's talking about. And he's showing you these games that his team, his division is working on. The first one is Final Fantasy Versus 13. Yes, we're riding the roller coaster again. We're doing this ride. We are riding this ride again. Seriously, another announcement, but this time it's not just a trailer. It is a full gameplay footage, cinematic, composed Final Fantasy Versus 13 game, more than we have seen in years. This game has been absent. This game was announced at the beginning of the previous generation of consoles. This was a game that went through the entire Assassin's Creed franchise, the entire Mass Effect trilogy, the entire Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. It literally was dead to everybody. It was vaporware. It was something that people were still asking for and nobody was receiving. And boom, it's real, it's there, and it's not Final Fantasy Versus 13 anymore. I guess he pretty much just said, you know what? If we're gonna be, we've been delaying this game for so long, and we're not going to be doing this game. We've delayed this game so much. Why are we want to remind people that this is a game that has been like dead in the water for so long? So why don't we just why don't we just call it Final Fantasy 15? Tetsuya Nomura, that's his name. Tetsuya Nomura. That man was like, we're going to rename it Final Fantasy 15 because it's not dead. It's going to be its own story and it looks bloody awesome. So, but then he did it again. He brought another game that was dead out of nowhere because it wasn't really much as dead as in, where the heck is this game? Kingdom Hearts 3. Yes, you heard that correctly. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 followed up from Final Fantasy Versus 13 is a brilliantly just awesome, just wow. I cannot believe that this game is finally going to come out. We have gotten more spin-offs than actual sequels, and as it turns out now, most of those games are interconnected with each other now. If you guys can find this video, you go to GameTrailers.com and search for the history or the story of Kingdom Hearts. I'll try to see if I could post a link below because you guys have no idea. This entire story has gone to the point of convolution. This is the final Kingdom Hearts game in the story. In this story. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, everything that has built up from everything is going to end on this game. But nobody's saying that this is going to be the last Kingdom Hearts game. So, prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. I'm not saying there's going to be more Kingdom Hearts games. Tetsuya Nomura might probably continue them. But the thing is that when you get a company that's refocusing all of their efforts on making other Final Fantasy games, like the next Final Fantasy 13 sequel that's coming out, and all the other games, other projects are going to get less priority. And I think Versus 13 was one of those. And I think Tetsuya Nomura was like, guys, this game has the potential to be great. Why don't we just recommit this, and let's make this the first Final Fantasy game for the next generation. And boom, there it is, shown for everybody. And I'm honestly super excited about that. I think those two, and then Kingdom Hearts 3, both of these games, just wow, just blew me away. Just really, literally, just let me speechless, and really just nothing else I could really say that'll express my emotions. I mean, at this point, I was like, what else do you got, Sony? I mean, are you gonna give me a heart attack? Well, they mentioned something about Final Fantasy 14, which is like that MMORPG they've been trying so hard to get to work, but they're gonna bring it to PlayStation 4 because apparently they now think they got this thing up the ground, and if they can get it ready for PlayStation 4 and they can just restart this whole thing all over again, I think they can salvage what they can from the loss of revenue that they have not done a single cent after all that money that they put in to make this game. But what's gonna happen with that, I wish I could tell you, but it's coming, so that's something. And then came more things. This conference is still going. They showed Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag gameplay. And it seems that you are in a jungle right now in this game. And you are also in ship battles. And the E3 presentation failure virus has spread to Sony because the gameplay broke down. Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. The gameplay broke down. The demo that they were showing for Black Flag failed. And the guy, it would have been, I mean, wow, I had no words. It was seriously embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. The guy that was there, he didn't know what to do. It was like, uh-oh. I mean, was it the equipment that was failing? No, it looked like it was the build that was failing. And it just sort of came to this awkward silence. And then they just moved on to the next person. And I was thinking as the dudes from Ubisoft came up to talk about Watch Dogs again, I was like, wow. They're trying to show us how this franchise is still relevant. And this happens. I'm like, wow. Just wow. And I am about as excited as someone who's played the first and the second one is. It's like I'm not terribly looking forward to it like most people are, but I am playing through Brotherhood, so hopefully if I can get these games done and I can move on to 3 maybe, if the story is interesting enough, I'll jump in and start playing 4. But really, they really do need to change it up a little bit because, I mean, I'm playing through Brotherhood, and I mean, if it's the same thing in the next couple of games, you got to do something better. So, but Watch Dogs, screw the other game. Watch Dogs. This was, to me, the game from last year's E3. I mean, probably declared that for The Last of Us, but Watch Dogs, to me, was last year's E3. And from this trailer, we learned a bunch of things. You basically can do driving. It's coming out on the PlayStation 4, so there is going to be a PlayStation 4 version of Watch Dogs. They showed how you could unlock doors and gates. But that's not all. Apparently, you can ask for help in this game, and you could tell his friend T-Bone when you got this dude called T-Bone. Apparently, he's like your buddy, hacker, best friend, whatever. But T-Bone, he is basically assisting you, and what you're doing is you're trying to guide T-Bone and telling him where to move. You hack the cameras to get the different views, and they're looking for T-Bone, and you're trying to guide T-Bone away through cover. He's taking cover, so you're basically telling him, okay, move, and then when they're pursuing your main character, what does he do? He takes his cell phone. He does this, and boom. Darkness. He shuts off the entire city with his phone. That is some epicness that I will never be able to accurately describe until I actually get the game and show you him doing it. But you could see it, obviously. Well, I mean, Watch Dogs is this game that I'm just so hyped to just... No words I can describe anymore. I mean, my excitement was shown from last year. It permeates this year, so just bring me Watch Dogs. Give me Watch Dogs, guys. just release it. They talk a little bit about NBA 2K14, and it looks like LeBron James, most valuable player of both this year and the NBA Finals from yesterday. I have to bring this up. This is a recording from further ahead. This all happened yesterday. Is going to be the cover from NBA 2K14. Not a lot of detail in this game, really. And they showed an Elder Scrolls Online as well. So it is a pretty exciting gameplay trailer. Definitely looking forward for that game. I signed up for their closed beta, so hopefully I'll be able to try out the game and maybe offer my opinions. We're not going to go into the will it be a WoW killer argument, because I don't feel that argument is really all that full of merit anymore. I mean, I'd be content if it was just a really good MMO in the world of Tamriel, the world that I love, from Skyrim, from Morrowind. Just bring me that. Then they showed Mad Max. They revealed this thing. Apparently, it looked like Mad Max. My friend Ann was sitting with me and was like, "Oh, this is Mad Max. This looks like Mad Max." But I'm like, there's so many games that kind of reference the heck out of Mad Max. I'm thinking, will they do Mad Max? And boom, there it is, Mad Max. Now, whether Mel Gibson has anything to do with it, we can only hope he doesn't. But there it is, Mad Max. They showed a teaser trailer. There it is, and there's really not much else I've got from this. So now the next couple of things that they did show are they showed stuff like what their core things are from the PlayStation 4. They mentioned a lot of things. They reaffirmed to people that it will play used games. They are disc-based games, so you would probably may need the disc to play them. You don't have to be online all the time to play these games. You can play these games offline. You can play them as they're being loaded. Like I mentioned before, apparently there's this second processor that loads the games, and there's another one that processes the main game itself. So I'm thinking that this is going to be you can play it while the content's being loaded, because I think it still needs to install the game into the console, but it's not going to be so limiting. PlayStation, it will not allow. You don't have to check in all the time. So at this point, they're taking direct jabs at Microsoft at this point. So, they are there, definitely reaffirming to people that this is a conference where we do poke fun of other companies. So because we've got class. Kind of just reaffirming that, this is a game console, and this is like, what, guys, we're doing this for you guys, and if Microsoft doesn't want to do it, we're doing it. It does talk about how PlayStation Plus is going to work for the PlayStation 4. They talked something about an instant game collection as well. I don't know if from this point they said, okay, it's compatible. But like it's been mentioned, none of the stuff from before is backwards compatible. But it is, I think, still retaining its coreness. So I hope that they have some content that you could actually play. Like I mentioned before, Drive Club's included. But we'll just have to see. And another thing that they mentioned. From that is that to play online, apparently now it's a requirement to have PlayStation Plus to play games online, to play online multiplayer. They pretty much just mentioned that it says that it's a small fee, but yes, you will need it. And from that point, I was thinking, okay, so they turned into Xbox Live, but they explained it a little bit more, so I don't know why, but there you go. It's now a requirement, but that's a minor thing, considering that PlayStation Plus pretty much gives you a bunch of free games and a bunch of free content, and if you already have it, just for the benefits that you already get, really it's not even going to affect you at all. So yes, we are still going. This conference finally it ends, it starts to make its way down to the end when it starts talking yet again about Destiny. Now, Destiny has been making a lot of its push on Sony's side. They spoke about how they were in the event before and how they've recommitted to show that this game can definitely do its stuff best on the PlayStation 4. I was told that it was going to come out on PC and on Xbox One as well. Don't know. It's definitely not exclusive to PlayStation 4 from what I can tell. So, but they're pretty much just going with Sony and going, what, this game will run beautifully for this. And they showed stuff about the warlock characters, and how people can just jump in and out of the game and join you in these co-op missions. The enemies look really, really good. Environments and the shadows that these the characters emit. I mean, Bungie has done beautiful games, but this game is really a passion project. Seriously, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that Halo wasn't a passion project, but I think they wanted to make this game, and I think what they kind of suggested was that they were not allowed to do this. They wanted to push Halo more and more and more and more, whereas 343 is like they're perfectly content because they love Halo so much. I think Bungie was like, you know what, we would like to do another type of game, and this is the type of game. I mean, you can acquire weapons and upgrade them. You can join public events, like these public events that sort of show up, and people can just show up and participate in them. And apparently they're like multiple events, like multiplayer living events. And they've got this. They also announced, sort of in the similar fashion that Microsoft had this sort of like exclusive partnership. I'm not sure if the game is exclusive. You might want to not quote me on that. I'm thinking it probably isn't, but they have this exclusive partnership. Apparently, they're going to be doing things for the PlayStation 4 version of it that you probably won't be able to get on many of the other versions, if they are other versions. But they talk about, after Destiny, they talk about Gaikai a little bit more. They talk about Gaikai very, very little. I mean, very, very little. There's like it's something called All Access Gaikai. Apparently, it's going to be out in 2014. That Cloud Services runs the games apparently from there. The Gaikai services, I find it kind of strange, because if they announce that the PlayStation 4 is coming out this year, that means the Gaikai Cloud Services are not going to be up until next year. So I don't know exactly what that means, but in terms of how most of the cloud services that Gaikai is supposed to provide, will they come in later? Will they just activate for the games? I'm sure that we'll get some kind of explanation if they already have. I mean, remember, this E3 was last week, so they might have explained it again. I'm not touching into what has been happening here, just touching what they talked about on that day, on Monday of last week. And, of course, the very last thing they said was that the Sony PlayStation 4 was going to cost $399. $399. The PlayStation 4, a console which has very similar specs to the Xbox One, is going to cost $100 less. You are paying $50 more for this rather than a 32-something gig Wii U Deluxe. You are getting a lot with this PlayStation 4. I think this is the only SKU. I don't think that there's going to be any other editions. And considering everything else that they just mentioned, that was, I think, not just the cherry on this Sunday. I think that was the freaking truckload of cherries on this freaking Sunday. I mean, seriously. After this conference was done, even I had to say, "Wow, okay, they blew me away, seriously." And what do I gotta say? And that's the end of the Sony PlayStation conference. The reveal of the PlayStation 4, a ton of content with games. What is there to say that hasn't already been said? In my opinions, they did everything right. They did everything right. They didn't BS with the people that was there. People were frantic about how they were saying how they could play used games. GameStop people there were blowing. Were just like, "Oh, please let me suck your privates. Oh, let me some of that sweet jizz. Ah, I love you, Sony. You saved our lives." GameStop. But anyway, they're lose track after just saying that. But the bottom line is something that my friend Axel made sort of just like brought to my attention when he said it was like they went back to kind of just repent for all the stuff that they done before, letting us down, and the restrictions for the developers and the stuff that happened with their servers. I think people genuinely just really didn't trust in Sony anymore. And when they came out and delivered this magnificent conference, with the exception of the Black Flag presentation, because that was a catastrophe that I don't think anyone can describe accurately except for the guy that was actually on stage. It was a wonderful experience to know that most of these dead franchises like Final Fantasy Versus 13, now Final Fantasy 15, and Kingdom Hearts arise from the dead, while others like Watch Dogs and Black Flag and and Beyond Two Souls and The Last of Us, these games that were talked about from last year, they keep on generating buzz this year. And Destiny, especially Destiny. Destiny is like a game that I'm getting on day one. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. That game is in my collection come release day. And the fact of the matter is that Sony's made me into a believer. Seriously, I mean, they made me into a believer. I truly believe that they're going to probably have the most successful launch because they came and they took advantage of Microsoft's shadiness from everything that was going on. There have been new developments happening with that, but up until this point, I think everybody was like, no, screw Microsoft. And then the memes started. The next day on my Facebook wall, I think I saw like 20 to 30 different kinds of memes about how PlayStation 4 pretty much just took down the Xbox One, of how Sony has triumphed E3, and how IGN readers believe that they totally dominated E3. But really, it's just matter of time. With the new developments on Microsoft and the Xbox One now, it's anybody's game. But at this point, the PlayStation 4 really does sound like it. I mean, I own a PlayStation 2 and a 3. I got a hand-me-down PlayStation 2. I was given a PlayStation 3. I've never gone and purchased my own PlayStation. This will probably be the one time I think I'll be able to get myself a PlayStation 4. This because I will want to get a PlayStation 4. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do believe that Sony might have come out of this victorious. I mean, I honestly really don't give Sony too much credit, but everything fell right in place. You know, all the negative attention that was going for one company, and all of a sudden they take all that and they absorb it. And I'm like, you know what? They don't want to do this. That's fine. We're gonna do this. And if nobody likes it, you know, if everybody hates that, they're really gonna love this. So, I mean, Sony's saying all the right words. I'm kind of confused that they would require you to have an Xbox, a PlayStation Plus account to play online. But other than that, really isn't anything negative that I can say. I mean, overall about the way that Sony came up and presented themselves, and really, nobody blames them. Nobody would blame me if I said, even if I really didn't find Sony to be the type of company that I've been too associated with for too long, really, just not the biggest fan of them. But you know, they've now opened the floodgates. The console wars have officially begun. So we'll have to wait and see later in this year, see who takes the first leap and sells who. So we're gonna see what happens. So, but I mean, there's no point in there's a point of asking. I mean, do you guys think that Sony won this entire event with this conference? What did you guys like the conference? What did you guys think about the announcements of the Square Enix games? I mean, what did you guys think of the added stuff that we've got, like the indie stuff, the contributions towards the developers? I mean, tell us, what did you guys like? Was there something in the conference that you didn't like? I didn't like also how they started really late, and I was kind of like getting impatient because I was trying to find a way to see the conference and they still were just like not starting. So, but then all of a sudden when it started, it seemed like they had just completely dominated. So, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen in the road down from here on out, but we're going to see. We're going to hold on together and we're going to wait and see how this console war turns up. So that concludes my impressions and recap of the Sony E3 conference. And the next one is going to be Nintendo. And you're going to be very surprised of what I think. And because Nintendo, they've been pretty much been my company ever since my infancy. And, well, I'm gonna see what, I mean, we're going to see together how this minimalist, more lazy approach this year Nintendo took still probably ended up doing good. We'll see. I'm going to see my opinions later on. So anyway, guys, you have yourselves a really awesome day, and hope you guys are excited for the PlayStation 4 as I am. So take care, guys. My name is Fico. This is my gaming mind.